Hello everybody. My name is William and welcome back to another Roblox Bee Swarm Simulator video. I apologize for being gone for so long yet again. I know, I said I'd upload every other day. I'm sorry, some stuff came up and yeah. So I'm finally back making YouTube videos and sorry for being gone for so long. I apologize for that. But today I'm back with an absolute slap of a video. Today we're doing the Tide Popper versus the Petal Wand, sort of a like comparison to see if you already have the Petal Wand, just to see if the Tide Popper is really worth grinding out quests and all that for it. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at that in this video right here. So yeah. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 5-minute tests in the Pine Tree Forest with the Petal Wand and the Tide Popper. So essentially what we're gonna do is this, but I'm just going to explain this testing first, and then we're going to go take a look at what the Tide Popper and the Petal Wand do. So we're going to stand at, like, right where my planter is. That's a good mark. Like, 4 flowers from my planter, and just stand here and swing continuously, and yeah. But let's go take a look at the 2 already given comparisons between the Petal Wand and the Tide Popper real quick. Okay, so here we have the Petal Wand. It is very cheap. It only requires you a Spirit Petal, 10 star jellies, 25 glitter, 75 enzymes, and 1.5 billion honey. And it says collects 5 pollen from 37 patches in 0.7 seconds and boosts it by 100%. Every third swing fires a petal shuriken that causes bees to instantly convert pollen. So yeah, this is what it looks like. It swings decently fast, and on the third swing, as you can see, it launches out this little shuriken out of it, and it converts pollen from your bees. And now here we have the Tide Popper, which is the brand new endgame collector for blue. It requires you to have 1,500 blue extract, 200 stingers, 150 tropical drinks, 75 swirled wax, 50 super smoothies, and yes, super smoothies, 50 of them, and 75 swirled wax, so it's quite expensive. These 2 are the most expensive parts of it, I'd say. And 2.5 trillion, not billion, trillion honey. Pierced through flowers and bubbles with torrential waves. Ramps up the more you pop, then unleashes tidal waves in a violent surge. Splash balloons with tall waves to earn Tide Blessing. This is... where is it? Oh wait, no, I lost my Tide Blessing, didn't I? Yeah, when I unequipped the Tide Popper, I lost my Tide Blessing, which kind of sucks, but I can show you Tide Blessing afterwards, because otherwise it would give it an unfair advantage anyways, because we're just comparing the collector itself and its abilities, so we're not going to like talk about the prolonged abilities of them, if that makes sense, to make it more fair, you know? I'll explain that a little later. However, yeah, so this is the Tide Popper, and now what its ability is, instead of a petal shuriken and converting pollen, it does the exact opposite. What happens is when you launch out a little wave out of it on the third swing, and there we go, look at that, there's like a little wave, and it collects pollen, and it actually collects a fair amount too. And what's the nice part about it is it pops bubbles. See that? Like how it just popped a few bubbles? Well, there are no more bubbles now, but let's see if we can pop this one right here, and yes, I can. See, look at that. Just pops bubbles, and it gives me this thing called Tide Power, which gives me collector tool speed. It stacks up to 500, and so your collector will swing like lightning fast. So the Tide Popper will shoot out a ton of waves really quickly with this Tide Power if you have it at like 500. So yeah, but 500, it activates this ability called Tidal Surge, which I will yet again explain after the testing. Also, the Petal Shuriken from the Petal Wand does fire out Petal Shurikens, and they do in fact pop bubbles. Okay, so really quickly here, I'm going to quickly use Tide Power, so that way, you know, it doesn't have this, because there's already 14. It's a multiplier of 1.04 collector tool speed, and that's a bit of an unfair advantage yet again. So I'm going to quickly activate this. I'll be right back. You know, in fact, I guess I could showcase... hold on, wait, before I pop any more bubbles. So this is Tide Power. As you can see, multiplies your collector's tool speed by 1.99 when it is at 493. And now when I summon this to 500, look at that. These gigantic waves, they pop bubbles and convert pollen out of balloons. So look at this. My popper is swinging so fast, and there are gigantic waves on the field. Well, that gives us Tide Blessing. So the more bubbles, I think it's the more balloons we touch, gives us the more Tide Blessing. And what Tide Blessing does is multiplies your blue pollen, honey from tokens, convert rate at hive, which is actually really good for blue, by the way, pollen from bees, and pollen from tools. So overall, Tide Blessing is actually incredibly handy. So yeah, that's this is the prolonged ability with the Tide Popper that I was talking about earlier. And also the Tidal Surge ability is insane. It's amazing. Oh wait, no, I could have just... Okay. All right, so I'm going to unclaim my hive for this test. All right, so now that we don't have our hive claimed, we're going to empty out our capacity by resetting. I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to go ahead and get out our 5-minute timer. And now, what are we going to do? We're going to go head up to good old Pine Tree Forest real quick. And what we're going to do is we are going to stand 4 flowers away from this. So we got to figure out where that is. 4 flowers back, right? We're going to walk in there like this. We're going to do this, and then we're going to start the 5-minute timer in 3, 2, 1, go. So now what's happening is we're constantly swinging for the next 5 minutes, and so at the end, we're going to empty out our capacity with an instant converter, like an instant microconverter, so that way we don't, like, you know, get any bonuses from at-hive collection things. I'm going to remove my cub buddy so we don't pick up any honey tokens either. So yeah, microconverter to avoid any form of, like, these boosts right here, like this stuff, because this stuff's going to get in the way a little bit. I know this isn't completely maxed nectar, but it's not going to matter too much because it's in the same field and, well, it doesn't go down that quickly. It's going to remain with the exact same blue pollen buff on the motivating nectar within the next 5 minutes, so it'll be fine. Okay, don't worry about these. Don't worry about nectars or any of that. This is, I've tested this, and I actually had to remake this video like 3 times, so that was a pain because I kept getting clouds in the field, etc., etc. Enough blabbering on. Okay, 5 minutes. Here we go. Alrighty, so that's been 5 minutes exactly. We've hopped out of the field, and we've collected 9.5 million pollen. So we're going to not collect pollen from anywhere else, and we're going to use an instant converter really quickly right here. Ticket dispenser, or whatever you want to call that thing. I don't know anymore. 14.7 million honey from that. And yeah, so on screen now is the amount of honey we made exactly overall with the Petal Wand. And now we're going to go equip the good old Tide Popper. So again, here we go. Another 5-minute test. As you can tell, see, the motivating nectar buffs have not gone down, and neither have these. Neither has the satisfying nectar. Don't worry, okay? I know what I'm doing. I am a genius, mostly. Okay, we're going to reset real quick, so that way we get rid of that, you know, pollen. Okay, so 4 flowers to the right of the planter, and yes, so we're going to stay at the same distance because the Tide Popper's ability is to collect things from further away using the, what is this, tidal wave thing? Yes, so, okay, here we go. We're going to, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to walk straight forward through here. No extra pollen from the boots, really. We're not going to count that, and then we're going to go ahead and place down our sprinkler, and in 3, 2, 1, we have now started the 5-minute test, and we're just going to sit here for 5 minutes while the Tide Popper does its thing and collects us pollen. So as you can see, the waves, they are like firing off and collecting us more pollen. So that's a really good part of having the Tide Popper. So we're going to see if that actually gives us a marginal difference. Because the Tide Popper collector itself, like the physical, not the ability, the actual collector collects less than the Petal Wand, or so I've heard. So we're kind of testing that theory just a little bit, and we're going to see how that goes. So yeah, here we go, 5 minutes. And that's 5 minutes. All right, now we're going to go ahead and use the converter. But as you can see, we collected a lot less, actually. 3 million less pollen, which is interesting. But I do wonder if maybe, quite possibly, did we make more using the waves with the instant converted pollen? Possibly, but we're going to have on screen now the amount the Tide Popper made, and we're going to have a comparison of the two and see which one made more. So on screen now is whichever collector made more honey in the end. So yeah. Now, final summary. So personally, I'd say the Tide Popper is definitely more than worth it. Not because of its just collecting and the waves, but mainly because of its abilities, such as Tidal Surge, Tide Blessing, and Tide Power, because all 3 of those together are actually incredibly useful because you swing your collector faster. So in the end, technically, if we did have high Tide Power, we'd make a lot more with the Tide Popper than we would with the Petal Wand. So there's that. Also, with Tide Blessing, you get a lot more blue pollen, and for blue hives, blue pollen is pretty much everything, and also it gives you a ton of convert rate. So it's, honestly, is it worth the 250 quests and stuff like that and all the materials? I would say kind of yes and no, because first of all, you don't really have anything else to get in the end game, so it does make sense for Onnit to make this an incredibly overpriced item. So yeah, technically, yeah, I'd say it's worth it. To be honest, it is a grind though, so I will warn you with that, but in the end, you will be happy you got it. So yeah, it helps a ton with macro and just overall blue hive boosting in general. Just everything about the blue hive, this thing is amazing. And it also looks really cool too. So let me know some of your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you all in the next Roblox Bee Swarm Simulator video or any other video that I publish on this channel. Also, if you'd like to check out some of our merch links for our Roblox merch for Bee Swarm Simulator in the group, links in the description below. Go ahead and check those out because they're really cool. And I will see you all later. Goodbye!